I have had agents cry on this. I have had agents get upset about it. I've actually had an agent leave because of it.
You're listening to the Building Stronger Agents podcast, where we interview the top solo agents, team leaders, and brokers across the country to see what makes them thrive in today's market and beyond. This episode of the Building Stronger Agents podcast is brought to you by Social Orchard. At Social Orchard, we help successful real estate agents nurture their past clients' sphere 4 to 5 days a week so that you can never be forgotten. We're going to help you build a community with a private Facebook group. We provide all of the content, we help you engage and have conversations with your sphere. All you have to do is invite your Facebook friends, grow the group, and engage with the comments daily. With your private friends and family Facebook group, you are never going to be forgotten again. And over time, your referral and repeat business is going to be stronger than it ever has been before. Visit socialorchard.com today. Welcome back, everybody. This is Will Penny, and this is a Building Stronger Agents podcast. And I'm very excited today to have a lady on this podcast interview, and we're going to be talking about her team and her brokerage. She's actually the #1 team leader for Remax in the state of Ohio. Pretty amazing statistics. She's been in the business since 2000. She started a Remax brokerage in 2010. She and her husband worked together. Now she's got a mega team of 23 agents. Last year, they did over 600 transactions in Northeast Ohio, and she's, again, the #1 team for Remax. Today, we're going to get into what did she do before she got in the business, what led her here, what led her to start a brokerage, and my goodness, now she's got a mega team on top of the brokerage doing over 600 transactions a year. So without further ado, Debbie Ferrante, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me this morning. And before we get into this, could you give us your background? I'd love to hear how you got into the real estate business. You've been in the business 23 years, but I'd like to hear what you did before and what led you here.
Great. Thanks, Will. Thanks for having me. You know what? I graduated from college, kind of had a few little jobs here and there, and for some reason found myself in technology sales. So I was a manufacturing rep for Linear Technologies. We did a little bit of Texas Instruments, Hitachi America. So I did a lot of electronic sales and found myself in the electronic industry.
Oh,
and
cool.
so it was demanding. I worked a lot up in Cleveland area. So, and then I started a family, got married, started a family. And I thought, kind of like some of the new agents getting in the business. Oh, you know what? I need to make a change because I was traveling. I was not having enough time. So I thought I need to spend more time with my family. I've always liked sales. I liked homes. So kind of like the traditional story. Love the houses, love sales. So here we are. And I thought I'd have more free time. That was a little, that was a little myth.
Wrong.
Wrong. But I have to admit, I love it. It has always been a career for me. It's not a job. And I got to be honest with you. I actually think when somebody asks me, what's your hobby? It's real estate. I love it.
That's fantastic, especially after 23 years. I mean, that's
right.
Really good to still love it. I still enjoy it. I enjoy helping real estate agents more. I'm still in production, but I really enjoy helping other people grow, and I'm sure you're the same way.
Great. I find that to be the phase that I'm at right now. I enjoy watching the other agents grow and learn.
Yeah. So you got into real estate in 2000, and then you were a solo agent?
Yeah, I started off for a solo agent for about a year or so, and then I was very fortunate. I was selling quite a few builds for Shelmo Builders. Mm-hmm. So one day, Janet Shelmo and Ken Shelmo came in and said, hey, well, let's talk. How would you like to partner up? And so then I became a partner with Janet Shelmo for years. And I owe a great deal of my success to Shelmo Builders. And between Janet and Ken Shelmo, I learned so much.
Oh, yeah. So were you like an in-house sales rep for them?
No, we were still independent agents. So we were still independent contractors. We just obviously were lucky. Ken would build the houses and we would sell them. And then, we continued to do the resales and the people had selling houses.
Yeah. Back then, they were really, they were a pretty big force in the area.
Yes. Very independent, very, very good on that. So yeah. So we sold quite a bit. I mean, I never seen anything. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. It was back in right when the new construction, 2003, 4, 5. So we went really strong.
Yeah, that's helpful. So what happened as you approached 2007, 8, and 9? Obviously, things started to change. What did you do to shift?
Yeah, then obviously with the market shift, I ended up going. Ken and Janet went a different direction. We parted great. I went a different direction, and then obviously I had to, change my mindset. I went from nice new constructions to I was showing houses in all different areas, all different price range, and I just I just kept going. It was continued churn and burn, keep trying to treat people the same. I educated myself on foreclosures. I'm a big fan of education. So I'm a big fan of education. So
Yeah.
I educated myself on short sales, foreclosures, how to communicate and honest with people when we went to there. So we really kind of trudged through it and kind of all learned together in 2008.
So in 2009 and 10, a lot of agents really struggled, but then the agents that were prospecting, and I mean, I don't know about you, but 2010 was like my best year that I'd ever had, and that's the year that you started your brokerage. So as you shifted out of new construction and got into resale homes, did you do a lot of foreclosures and short sales?
We did. I did. Yeah, I did do a lot of foreclosures and short sales. I still did a ton of resales because at that time I was lucky. I had a lot of sphere. I'm a firm believer in keeping in contact with your sphere and your past
Yeah.
clients. So I was very fortunate. But I did learn a lot about foreclosures and short sales. I became pretty good at short sales.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think a lot of us did,
Yeah.
had no choice.
And then, in all honesty, in 2000, I had never, ever an intention of owning a brokerage. That wasn't even in the wheel. Wasn't even in my cards.
Now I'm
And
curious.
it came out, if you want me to tell you why I bought a brokerage, it came all out due to a website. So,
Oh, come on, what's this?
I had a great, I worked really well with the previous broker. He was a very nice previous owner.
Uh-huh.
But that was at a time when one of our competitors were out there, and they were one of the first pioneers of a website, and that was when the website was just the brokerage. You couldn't have an independent agent website
Right.
unless you were under the brokerage.
Uh-huh.
So I went, and this was after tough times. So this was after nines and tens, and agents were still struggling, brokerages. So I went and said, listen, for $39 each agent, we could get a website, and nobody wanted to jump on board. So I was at a function with Remax, and I'll be honest, I talked to him about it, and I said, "Hey, I just we got to do something. This is crazy. This competitor." So the next thing you know, a few days later, they called me and said, "How would you like a franchise?" And that's how I got a franchise.
No way. So you weren't even thinking about getting into the brokerage
Not at
business?
all. Not at all. It was just such a frustration to me because I love technology.
Yeah.
And it's got its good and bads, but it was just a frustration over a website.
So you started your own, did you have your broker's license then?
Nope, did not. I literally then had to powerhouse it through for a broker's license.
So once you got your
Fortunately,
broker's license and you bought the franchise, and you had one office, correct? Or did you
correct.
have an office at the time?
No, at the time I did not. We were in the process of buying one, so I bought the
Hmm.
office. Actually, I bought the brokerage before I got the broker's license, so that was probably a little crazy.
Right.
Um, so I
It
bought the
forced you to
franchise.
follow through.
Yeah, it was definitely, there was no choice there. And so I went and got my broker's license. Then we rented a space, and next thing you know, that's how it came. And yeah, so it started off with three of us. So we've built from there. So we didn't do a purchase. We are actually have built where we're at from here. So I got fantastic agents.
Yeah, you started it fresh. It was a brand new franchise, correct?
Correct.
So you grew the brokerage. We won't focus so much on that because obviously the Remax brand was very attractive. But what made you start to grow your own team? I mean, it's like most people don't do that. It's like you're a glutton for punishment. You started a brokerage and you've got multi offices. What made you decide to start a team and grow it so big? That didn't just happen on its own.
No, you know what? And it kind of happened again organically. One of my thoughts was grow a team. And the hopes were you grew them, you educated them, they stayed with you and went independent if they wanted to. If they didn't want to, I love them on the team. Stay on the team because I have some of the best team members out there, so they're
You sure
fantastic.
do.
But one of my thoughts is we educate them, grow them, get them kind of into our culture, kind of into our systems, the flow, and that they hope that they stay here and then they continue on successful.
Right. So I want to know how you what you did to start growing this team. Do you buy leads? Like what, having over 10 agents on a team is something that most real estate agents aren't ever able to do because you have to be a really good leader and a good partner. What, what shifts did you make to be able to start building this team? It didn't just
Yeah,
happen.
no, you know what? It didn't. And, and we've made mistakes. There's no doubt. I have the leads. Been a Zillow buyer for a while, been a realtor.com buyer for a while. Big CRM person. So we're, big boomtown person. So we're big CRMs. But where it really came down to was accountability,
Hmm.
and that is the hard part, is getting each agent on a flow. That somewhere along the line, they've got to work their database an hour a day. They've got to be accountable for the leads they've accepted. But I am not a team that actually requires them to. I did not jump on the bandwagon of they can only list or they can only sell.
Right.
I wanted them to know it all. I wanted
Right.
them to know it all. So I wanted to know them to list and sell. And then from there, they started organically and creating their database, and they just keep growing. So the leads are a portion, but I don't want anybody ever to be just, based.
Dependent on
It's
leads.
a kickstart. It's a kickstart, but it's not how they need to continue on.
Well, you got to have three legs to your business. You've got to I mean, the leads are helpful. Then you've got to be uh, prospecting for non-relationship based business. And then you have to be nurturing your sphere and the people that you've already worked with that know, like, and trust you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, as a big team leader, how did you get to 23 agents?
I don't know. It kind of came organically. Again, some of the agents brought in other team members, or they call and say, I think this is going to be a good fit for our team, or this is going to be a good fit. And so I have to compliment my team members in our brokerage on this, because they kind of put them this way. I'm not a recruiter. It's not my thing. Um, I do like talented agents. If they're new or they're young and they're, a few years and they're eager, I love that. I know seasoned agents tend to have their, their flow, so they know how to work it. But we kind of we'd meet them, do the traditional disc test or personality test, see if they fit. And then, trusted our other team members and kind of brought them in
Mm-hmm.
and then grow. So a lot of it, as I'll be honest with you, it's all agent driven.
What do you think you're doing differently within your team that's making these agents want to help you grow?
You know what?
Give us
I'm
some like
fair.
specifics on like what your team looks like behind the scenes, like that another agent could maybe try to duplicate if they
You know
wanted
what?
to.
I'm a very direct person. So
Hmm.
I'm not one, I love the rah rah. So don't get me wrong, but I am a very direct person. So I sometimes, actually, one of my team members was funny. He said to me, he goes, Debbie, sometimes you want more for us than we
Want
want
for
for
ourselves.
ourselves.
Yeah.
And it really put it in perspective, because I am a driving personality. So I'm very, very adamant on bi-weekly meetings. I don't make them weekly. I make them bi-weekly. And on those meetings, I definitely want to make sure almost every team member is there if possible. We go over, I try to make sure they take away one thing, whether it's a technology, motivation, what's coming up, competitive analysis, what we expect on the market. So I'm very, the every 2 weeks is extremely important to me. That's important to me personally,
Hmm.
to know I'm getting it out there. We have, obviously, accountability is probably one of the biggest things, is making sure they're accountable on what they're doing in their systems and their CRMs. So that's extremely important to
And how do
me.
you do that?
Yeah, we fortunately, I will tell you, we've had to go to the inside sales. But we go in, we look and see, are you communicating with your clients? Are they on campaigns? Are you making the phone calls? Are you picking up the phone calls? And then I'm a big farmer. I think we're into farming. So, not just all over the place. You got to be very picky of where you want to farm.
Um, so when you're having these conversations with your agents about what are you doing, how are you doing it, that's not done at your weekly or biweekly meeting, right?
No, but yeah, actually it is every bi-weekly. We go over things. I need to know what they're running into the field, and they're really pretty good about telling us what they're running into. And so I try to bring out a topic every week. Like right now, we're going through a large CRM conversion, and it's taken a lot out of us, but we're giving it a
Which one
shot.
do you use?
Right now, we're in Boomtown. Remax went on KV Core, so we're just deciding what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So it's and just like any CRM, it's a rough transition.
Our company had KV Core, but when I came over, I had Follow Up Boss, and I just didn't want to make that change. It was too big of a change for me. So we have KV Core, and it's a fabulous program from what I hear, but I'm still using Follow Up Boss.
Yeah, and that's where we're at right now. We're trying to decide which direction are we going to go, because it is going to be a huge
Follow Up Boss is really easy to use for teams.
Yeah, great.
All right, so are you having accountability sessions with your agents? Because you're not calling them out in these meetings.
No, I mean, I have in the past, but I've grown from there. I've grown from that. I've grown up from there. So I have to admit, they all know what they're supposed to do, but the accountabilities, like for instance, we're doing a test on something the other day. So we were doing a test on KV Core. And so we sent out some emails. Hey, just tell us what's going on, because they're all learning the system too. What happened on these leads? So we do have an inside sales rep that I work closely with every day. So I don't think people don't see this, but every morning I am with that inside sales rep for about a half an hour, going through what's happened, what's missed, who's missed it. And we can tell. And the other thing is, I'm a big sales board person. So we have a board. So every 2 weeks, we know their numbers. And let me tell you, that's a hard thing for me to teach other team leaders to do. And I would encourage every team leader to do this. It's a team board. And our team actually kind of mentally said they want to, if they're not in the left side, there's a left and right side. I had no bearings on that left or right side. I just needed to know the top numbers. But what happens is, if they're on the right side, they get all flustered and want to be on the left side.
Can you explain how your sales board works?
So what I do is every 2 weeks, I need to know what they have in pending and how many units they have in pending. So not just, so how many homes or, commercial properties or land do they have in pending? So, and so we obviously rank it how they are. And I'm very aware. So one might have 7 in pending, but getting ready to close 4. So the next 2 weeks, they're going to be a different number. But what I do is that board tells me, if I have an agent that's staying consistently at 0, or I have an agent that isn't where they used to be, I'm able to go check on them and see, are you okay? Are you just burned out? Do you need a break? Or do you need some space? So I'm able to look on that board, and that tells me, to be honest with you, that board is important. That tells me exactly what their activity is doing.
What's the left and the right side?
The left, it's just a whiteboard, and the left side is where somehow they all decided the left side is the high numbers and the right side is the lower numbers. And it's just how it works.
You have your agents ranked. Starting on the left side, they're ranked from the most productive one, and you erase it and change. You'll put
every 2 weeks
there instead of Sandy.
Right. Every 2 weeks. Yeah. So every 2 weeks, they're ranked by their dollar volumes, and the units. And then it's just every 2 weeks, and it changes. It changes every 2 weeks.
So it's like a race.
Yeah. In their mind, it is. To me, it wasn't, but they've created their own race.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the right side of the board, what do you do to get on the right side?
Well, you know what? It's just a normal. So I wish let me see. Can I show it? I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. Can you see it? Let's see. Hang on. I don't know if you can see it.
Okay, I can see that.
See
yeah.
So there's the board, and it's just a simple board, and it's just all based on their numbers. So and let me stress to you, the right side is not bad numbers. It just happens to be the left side had just a little bit more numbers that week. So
and those you don't have sales up there. You have your agent names.
Yeah. Oh no, I have the agents' names and their numbers.
Got it.
I will tell you, and it's probably something I hadn't mentioned. I have coached with Tom Ferry for years.
Yeah.
So that was a hard board for me to put up, because I was against it all the way. I obviously kind of was, basically on my ass, forced to do it, and I did it, and it was a trauma at first. Now they've all adjusted to it, and I'm watching some of my other team leaders try it right now, and they had some struggles at first, and now it's flowing for them.
So you're finding that these agents start getting more motivated when it's out on Front Street what they're doing.
Right. And it's not to call them out. It's not to that board is truly for me to see what numbers they are, to see where they're at. Are they struggling? And obviously, with the market shift, when we had the shift, we needed to see some of these people have never seen this, so
Right.
we needed to educate them on here's what you might need to do here. So again, we're just trying to that board actually gives me an individual snapshot of how that agent is and where that agent's at.
Do you track year to date as well, or what they just have currently going on?
I do track year to date
On
personally
the
behind the
board?
scenes. No, I do not put that on the board. That is an every 2 week number.
So if I'm on your board and I have 6 deals pending and the total sales volume is 1,236,000, that's what would be up there?
That's what would be up there.
Got it. So you'll pay attention. You'll say, okay, Will's got 6 deals pending, but 4 of them are going to close. What's he going to, so he's going to fall off that board in 2 weeks. Do you have the
And so now
dates on there?
yeah, no, we just don't. Yeah, we do. But then I do have a spreadsheet that tells me,
Got it.
like Will's going to close 4 deals, and so that means I know now. Let's help Will again because Will needs. Let's see, what Will's doing. If it's a consistent low number, then we usually know something's going on. They're on vacation, something's personal, they're tired, something's happening. So then that's able for us to take a look at it.
That's a really good idea. It's different than what I'm used to. I mean, a lot of team leaders like putting the sales on the board, but like you said, they don't like calling people out. But you know what? We're all big boys and girls, and we choose to be in commission sales. And if you're afraid to have your numbers on the board, maybe you should either rethink being in the business or rethink what you're doing.
And it's very interesting. So you'll see independent agents come in, and it's kind of tucked in one side of my office, and you'll see independent agents come in and they'll look and they're like, oh, okay, I rank where Rochelle is. And so they actually judge themselves to where these agents are. It's kind of funny, but I will tell you, I was very against it. But I made a 3-month commitment to try,
and because of the sales board.
Because of the sales board. But exactly what you said, Will, that tells me what's important to me is the top number, to make sure the top number is bringing in the revenue.
Wait, what's the top number? Explain.
Well, the top numbers, they total up together. So, like it's at 12 million, 14 million.
Oh, so on the top of that board, you have a big number where it's all added up?
Yeah, I do.
Got it. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Just trying to understand it.
Yeah, it's you know what, I'll have to send it out, but it's very elementary, but it just works. And I have tried other systems. We've tried, Slack, this or that. Here's what it is. There's nothing better to me that's worked for me than this whiteboard.
Yeah, who's responsible to change it? Each agent?
Nope. I have a team meeting every other Wednesday. And so the sales numbers are due every Monday of that week. And then my assistant comes in, she gets all the numbers, we put them on, and then we go over them.
And they're all in chronological order from the most productive to the least.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. So right now, Ron Ho is just killing it. So yeah, so he's right on the top. Yeah, so he is a great man.
Yeah. And Corey, you've got I don't know.
Corey and Ron are running a good race right now. So yeah. So Rochelle had a good month. I probably should say them all right now because I got to be honest, they're all doing great. They all went through adjustment period, and like all of us, so they all went through an adjustment period. But you know what? I'm a firm believer. If you work, it's going to come to you.
Yeah. Do you guys have? Obviously your retention's really strong. Ron loves being on your team. Corey really loves being on your team because they've both told me that in the past. Because as a team leader, I try to figure out what is it that makes them love being on their team so I can duplicate that. What do you think really, what is it as a strong team leader? I interviewed a guy in Canada, and he's got about 50 agents, and they're doing about 500 million a year in sales.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the number one team in Canada. He's only 34. He's been in the business since 2017. But he always calls his agents partners. He's like, every one of these agents, they have their own hopes and dreams. They're not under me. I don't. And he said where a lot of team leaders go wrong is they create this hierarchy where the team leader's on the throne, and then the agents are all below, and it's kind of it's they feel dejected over time. You don't do that. So, and plus you're in production still. What do you think? What is important if you were talking to other team leaders at a Tom Ferry event? What's really important specifically as a team leader to make sure that you pay attention to, so that you have high retention?
Yeah, I think, and I love all those team members. Actually, Corey is actually one of the ones who told me about I want more for them than they want for myself. Because I think what the guy said in Canada is right. They are partners. You know what? I do not feel I'm any better than them in any way. In fact, I learn and I'm educated from them every day. You know, one day somebody might send, "Hey, did you see this app?" They're you know, they're all, every one of them on my team is a very different personality. So they're
Mm-hmm.
not the same person. So and that is a great word. They are partners. They're partners, they're friends, you know, we're a group. I do need to bring us again a little bit more together, but, they share I'm really happy to say that like they could sit at a table and they're going into a listing and one might be like, "Hey, can you double check what this listing is?" There will be agents that'll sit at a table and help them do a market analysis so they're not scared of, you know, one person's going to take it from the other, where that's been in the past for many other people. They're partners, they're sharers. I'm in the field a little bit. I don't do as much production as I used to, but I understand what they want. My other thing is on those bi-weekly meetings. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good, but I always want to bring them something real. I don't want to just waste their time with letting this person come in for 10 minutes to talk unless that 10-minute person is going to give them value.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do try to, and sometimes, like I said, I just need that team meeting to put my perspective, what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that answered the question, but they
No, it
are.
does. But I just like, obviously you're doing something, and a lot of culture is around just, energy and feelings. It's not about any one thing. But do you have like team events? Do you have, are you throughout the year? Is there anything that you're doing that you think is helpful?
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to look in the mirror on this and say I've been a little slacking on the team events. So we are getting ready to put a team event together because obviously they are the number one team
Yeah.
for Remax. They actually ranked last year as one of the top 5 teams in the state of Ohio. So
Something to be
we are,
proud of.
and yeah, we had that. We just made America's best teams. So we will definitely be having a group event in there. And then it's a balance too because I've got to balance the brokerage too. So we're getting ready to do an awards ceremony, as well as an office meeting / awards office meeting for the entire brokerage. I'm choosing to do that when I come back from Tom Ferry because I want to see if there's anything new, wild, and exciting that I can bring to him.
I don't know how you manage a big brokerage. Does your husband, does he play that role? Is he running the brokerage more than you are?
He's the glue. He is the glue. I could not do this without Tony Ferrante. Tony Ferrante handles all the back end accounting, reporting. I think there's a lot of things people don't know. And, obviously when you're working for somebody like a Remax, EXP, we have a lot of reporting to do for our brokerages. Right. So he does reporting, accounting, all the checks, technology, setting up. In addition, he helps set up almost all the offices. He's got everything web-based, very consistent. He is the glue. He keeps it going.
Is he the sales manager?
You know what? I don't know if he would be the sales manager. I would say probably that will fall a little more back on me, but he is more he's more the technology manager and finance managing.
So you're overseeing your brokerage at independent agents and your team.
Yes. Now I will tell you, we are very fortunate. We have Julie Ferrara, and Julie has become our agent relations specialist. So Julie's there to help with some extra questions, calls, and then I have a great backup broker, Susan Clements. So Susan's always there. Susan's always there for us too.
So that's
not
all on you then.
Yeah, no, it's not. Susan Clements is the backup broker. If any questions they can't get a hold of myself or Julie, and then Julie is there to do a lot of agent relation questions. When I'm not around, she's there.
Before we wrap up, what's team day?
As in meaning
You
what
said
am I?
Wednesdays are team days.
Wednesdays are team days. So what I try to do is I spend probably Tuesdays preparing, really making sure I've got something good to give them on the meetings. It's not long. It's usually about an hour to an hour and a half. We go through everything. I listen to see what did they have to say, what should I look at, and after I leave that meeting, there's a little bit of social, and then after I leave that meeting, I literally immediately go what any notes I had from that meeting, and then I put that in place.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you try to separate your head on Wednesdays where I'm just focusing on the team today.
Right, exactly. And I'll tell you, some of them don't even know it. So they might say, "Hey, you should look at this, or you should do this, or here's what we're happening." So what will happen then is after all the social hour goes, I come back, have their notes, and then I go and check things out. You know, whatever they've said, whatever new apps, anything.
Tom Ferry's all about implementing.
Yes. And
Taking
believe
notes and
me,
not implementing and taking action is kind of a big waste.
yeah, and let me assure you, the accountability. So they're on accountability. I'd love to put the brokerage even on more accountability, to be honest with you. But every agent's individually. But yeah, I'm under like right after this call, I'm going to be on a call with them, and I'm going to guarantee you, I missed one thing I should have done, so I'll get the accountability talk.
As we wrap this up, then, I really appreciate everything you've told us. Where do you see this market going? What are you telling your agents? What's Debbie Ferrante's take on where we're at right now and where we're going to be in a year?
You know what? The market has changed, but I don't think it's changed terribly. I think we're still short inventory. I think the focus is everybody needs to go after listings to get the inventory.
Mm-hmm.
I think the interest rates people have accepted. They don't like it. They've accepted it. You're still going to have your crew that's going to watch it. But as we say, there's always those D's that are still out there. There's, diplomas, diapers, diamonds, divorce, departures. Yeah. So that's not going to change in life. I think people have to realize, though, it's not going to be just putting a sign in the yard coming up in the future. I think they're going to have to learn to really market and do a lot more sales, going back to basics. I think in reality to us, I think it's very similar to like how we had to work in 17, 18.
And before.
Yeah.
I just took something away from this. I always talk about the triggers: birth, death, divorce, graduation, relocation, and downsizing. But you called it the D's. That's diploma.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, let me see if I remember it. I call it diploma, and diploma, diamonds.
Yeah.
Then you have diapers.
Diapers.
Divorce. Downsizing.
And death.
And death. Yeah, I call death departure because when I got to do it. Yeah, and then and one of my agents, we're trying to figure out the word, but sometimes there's a lot of second marriages, so we're trying to figure another D. We just haven't got into it. For
diamonds.
Diamonds. We can go back to diamonds. Yeah. So yeah, because those aren't going to change in life. So no. It's just as long as you're working, yeah, you might not have made what you made in 2021. Those were at 23 years. I never seen anything like that in my life. No. But if you're working and stay consistent and treat people right, and I think that is the key, you treat people right and they will remember you.
Well, you have to treat them right and then have a mechanism in place to make sure they never forget about you. I think it's much harder now to stay top of mind with people than it was in the past. Before they'd be like, I work with this Remax agent. Debbie, yeah. And they'll go to your office. Now with social media and threads and reels and Facebook and TikTok and all of the stuff they're getting, right. It's very, very hard. It's a strain on most people's brains. I mean, there's psychology around it. I think we have to work much more diligently to stay top of mind with our sphere of influence now. And if we're not doing that, then we're foolish.
I agree with that. And it's happened to me. I've driven by a house that I had a great relationship with. And next thing you know, I've seen another sign in the yard. So, so that's probably, I really focus on like 50 to 100 really good past clients. I don't overwhelm myself. Those are the ones I really want to touch base with. And then, I try to keep in touch with the other ones too, but I really focus on there's about 77.
Your core advocates.
Core advocates, yes, very much. And those are fantastic people. And I think one thing you asked, I think the agents need to get out there, like you said, social media. Take them out of not always hanging around realtors. They need to go to, whether it's a wine club, book club, church. They need to take themselves out of just realtor, be friends with the realtors, hang and social. You and I have always, got along. We had a great deal. But I think what the matter is these agents have to take themselves out of their comfort zones and put themselves out public. Let everybody know that they are a real estate agent.
Right, but that, in my experience, I'm very cynical. That's not enough. If agents aren't willing to pick up the phone and
absolutely,
if they've got call reluctance and they're not willing to call expireds, or not willing to call around listings, or not willing to call for sale by owners, or not willing to pick up the phone and call a list of past clients because they feel awkward, that's going to be the agents that are willing to do that don't struggle, and the agents that aren't willing to do that, they usually, or they don't make it a priority, struggle. That's what with my team, I'm constantly talking about that.
We just did, it wasn't even on my team. It was an individual agent that came in, and I'm like, they wanted to do it. They wanted to start calling. They're like, I haven't talked to these people forever. And I said, then just say that. So we did a script. We put it together. We did a script, and we're like, hey, Bob, this is Kathy. And by the way, you know what? I haven't talked to you for a while. I'm implementing some new systems. So I just thought I'd, send a note, say hi to you, and forgive me for not touching base. Hope all's well with your family, and go from there. So I just said, own it, just own it, and then go from there.
I don't want to promote my other business, Social Orchard, but I will. We help real estate agents nurture their sphere and teams with Facebook groups. So
that's great.
The team creates a Facebook group, and they have their team agents in there. They all invite their friends and family, and every day, 4 days a week, it becomes a community where they're staying top of mind with their sphere on Facebook. We've got 1,000 people in our Facebook group. They're all past clients in Sphere, and we put questions in there about the community, restaurants, what they like to do, and then I turn that into a business where I actually give other agents all that content and post it to their groups called Social.
That is fabulous. Yeah. Call Will, you guys, because that's worth it.
We've got about
that's
60
fantastic.
team leaders that have Facebook groups where they use the group as a retention tool for their agents, because their agents come in, invite their friends and family. If they ever leave the team, you're still continuing to stay in contact with their people.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So you've been wonderful. This has been very helpful. The 5 Ds are amazing. Thank you for taking the time in your really busy day, Debbie.
No, thank you, Will. I appreciate it. And, I hope everybody enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone, and continue to stay tuned to our podcast, Building Stronger Agents, and we will bring amazing people like Debbie Ferrante to you so that you can grow. And I hope you take something away from this podcast. If you're not doing enough in a day and you see what this woman's doing, she runs a brokerage with multi-offices, has the largest team in Ohio, selling 600 homes. Get out there and call some of your past clients and prospect, because she's got you beat.
Thanks, Will. Have a great day. Appreciate it.
You too. See ya.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Building Stronger Agents podcast. If you like this episode, please give us a 5-star review and share our podcast with your friends.